time for real, honest conversation with Eric David and Jason Howard.
Okay.
Now, as I mentioned, I'm single, but this guy over here, he's married.
I'm married.
And wait a minute. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to let you finish.
I was going to ask how many years you've been married.
Oh, man. Okay. It makes me feel old a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But I've been married 17 years.
Woo! You need a celebration for that.
Come on.
Boom, boom, boom.
And I seriously, like, I just don't get it when people talk about the ball and chain. I just don't get it. I've never, ever. So I am a happily married man. Like when people say that, like I just picture my face right here. Bling.
That's his happy face.
That's a happy face.
Happy face.
Happily married man.
I want to know why.
Okay.
What are the secrets? They always say secrets. There are no secrets. I don't think.
No, we don't have many secrets. Especially as you're married later and later, all the secrets go out the window. Yeah,
okay.
Everything is exposed. There are no secrets at 17 years.
But maybe that's why it's successful. Because you have no secrets.
Ah, that's true. I like that.
So there are no secrets to a successful relationship because you keep no secrets. You're honest with each other, right?
Yeah.
You communicate.
Yeah.
But you tell me, you're the married man. My relationships they don't even last as long as this government shutdown.
Oh, da-da-da.
Boom, boom.
That's good. That's
33 days.
Well,
And counting.
Yeah, gosh, I know it's killing me, man. It's killing my clients. It's messing everything up. This is crazy. Happy wife, happy life, right?
Okay. Secrets
of a happy, successful marriage. I probably, if I'm just speaking candidly and honestly, openly, it's not going to be sexy. It's not like rocket science or anything like that. And I think it's neat that I actually get to sit in this spot and maybe talk about it. I guess 17 years isn't shabby.
No.
So I'm honored, first of all, that I get to even talk this way. I think it would be good to do a follow-up and ask my wife if I'm full of crap about what I'm going to say.
Yes.
But I think, honestly, my wife, I knew, I don't know if anybody has struggled with this, but when I was single, like, I had, like, hot girl syndrome. So every hot girl that I saw, I was like, is that the one?
Yeah.
So no matter, I could be working out at the gym. She walks in, she's got yoga pants on, and I'm like, oh, there's my future wife right there.
The yoga pants will do it every time.
Yoga pants. You know what I mean? Like, every hot chick could potentially be the future Mrs. Howard. Mm-hmm. And it started to actually really jack me up to a place where I actually had to start like talking to God about it and saying, listen, I'm driving myself nuts. I'm what-ifing myself to death. Can you help me in this area? Because I'm going to drive myself cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So my prayer really kind of changed a lot. And I said, you know what? Screw this. I'm done. I'm done trying to like figure out who my wife is. I'm done trying to always like chase after this hot chick over here and trying to pull out my moves on this one over here. It got so like, I got tired. Mm-hmm. And finally I just prayed a real honest prayer to God. And I said, listen, I give you my hands, my heart, my head. You already know I love you. But I give you my future relationship, and I don't know how to do it myself. So I invite you into it. I'm going to need you to steer and guide me. And so that was my first secret, to be honest. I quit doing it on my own, and I actually invited God. I didn't play religious churchy crap.
Right.
Like I invited God to be in the middle of my relationship, to help point out the kind of woman that I would want. And I remember saying a scary prayer. I was like, God, like I tell you what my flesh likes,
right?
But I'm not praying according to what my flesh wants. I'm just asking you. I need you to guide me in this area, because I'll be honest with you. I would never say her name, but I dated a bathing suit model, and it was like hell on earth. It was not. You would think, oh, everybody wants to, hang out with a bathing suit model, bro. I would walk into like Subway looking to fight all the time because everywhere we went, dudes were gawking. They were like staring at. Dudes are brutal.
Sorry, I missed everything you just said. I was just thinking about the bathing suit model. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, what did she look like in your head?
She was amazing.
Well, this one probably didn't look like that. But she's super attractive. Mm-hmm. She was, I was 20 something. And so she was 20. You're at the prime of your life. You look great, 20 something, right? So she was definitely smoking hot. But everywhere we went, I was always ready to fight because there were so many disrespectful dudes just saying all kinds of stuff and eyeballer, totally disrespectful to me. And just nobody has, if there isn't a ring on you, like, and even then some people are like,
yeah, they don't care.
Oh yeah. Like that's a challenge. Great.
It is a challenge. Yeah.
So that steamrolled me, bro. It burned me out. And so that's when I went to God. I said, listen, I don't need a bathing suit model. I don't need, any type of woman except the woman that you think would be right for me. Now, clearly, God's not going to hook you up with a Bertha. Sorry if your name's Bertha. No offense to you. But ugly.
Rasputia. What is that Eddie Murphy movie? I think it's Norbit.
Right.
And it was like Rasputia was her name. And she was mean. She was... Yeah. Anyway, I know. We know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. So I've had a down and dirty conversation with the Creator, and I said I need you to help me figure it out. And that was the first secret for me. The second secret was when I believe that God brought my wife into my life. My heart and my mind was ready for her because I had already said, listen, just because I see hot chicks that I find physically attractive, I'm not going to try to go put my moves on them.
Right.
I'm done. It's over. You're going to have to bring this lady in and you're going to have to make it really obvious for me. So I'm hard-headed. I can be a knucklehead. So God has to work extra hard to speak to me. So I'll never forget it though, when I did bump into my wife. I knew, man. Some people talk about this thing. I thought they were full of crap, bro. I thought they were full of crap.
That's where I'm at.
Well, I get it. I felt that way. I thought people, you know what? That's in the movies. That's BS.
Yes.
But I tell you, so maybe I can just quickly share our story.
Okay.
So I was youth pastoring at the time, and for some reason, I used to work at a Christian bookstore in our old mall, and she knew that I worked there. So she ended up going there and saying, hey, she came back home from college, and we were buddies. We were friends, but I used to always think she was like my buddy, so I'd put my arm around her and be like, oh, my little sister. I never found her to be attractive, and quite frankly, she was a nerd.
Well, you were the sexy librarian, so I guess...
Yeah,
right. You were in...
I don't know about that
in the bookstore. So
yeah, but I mean, when she was young, like we went to youth group together. Okay, right, and she like this is this was even before my time, but there was this show called Little House on the Prairie. She looked like these little House on the Prairie ladies that walked around in these like sundresses and looked homely and did not wear like her mom had her on lockdown.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, she was like dork mode, right? Mm-hmm. Nerd, but super smart and super sweet. So I never found her to be attractive. She went off to college. Mm-hmm. Something happened.
And then yeah, man.
Something happened. Yeah, she grew up. She went from little girl to woman, and she found out that I was youth pastoring, and she's like, hey, she called the church because she got the number from the lady from the bookstore. So she called it. So she actually kind of like sought me out a little bit, right? Now, which that's, a lot of people are like, don't do that. Don't do that. I needed that. My prayer to God was like, you're going to have to help me and make it really obvious. Well, I'm getting ready for that night with the students and stuff. And she shows up. She comes walking in the back. I tell you what she was wearing. She's wearing this yellow sweater with gray pants And dude, she made that stuff look good.
You remember the outfit?
I remember the outfit, man.
The heavens opened up.
Dude, no, there was a slow motion moment for
Slow
me.
motion.
I kid you not. My heart started racing. I started like getting nervous. I was like, what the heck is going on? I was like, oh no, I'm doing this to myself again, right? So I see her and I walk over and I play it off and it's cool. I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, man? It's good to see you. And I gave her a hug and she was like, oh, it's so good to see you. Like, so this is the youth ministry? I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Service is starting. So I do my thing and I, whatever. Afterwards, after the service, I say, hey, like, we're going to go hang out at like a local restaurant. You want to come? So she comes to the local restaurant. We're having a blast. We're laughing. And she's got to get back to Kent State. She's a Kent State alumni, but she had to drive pretty far to get back. So she goes to leave, and my heart starts to like race again. I'm like, oh man, I got to follow her.
Oh, that's creepy.
Right? Well, not that way.
I'm just joking.
I got to walk her out to the car. So I walk her out to the car.
Yeah, I get it.
And bro, I turn into a complete. I wanted to say a bad word. I was a complete idiot, a stumbling, fumbling idiot. So I walk her, and I'm like, hey, I'm so glad that you came and hung out. And I put out my freaking hand to shake her hand.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, it was bad.
I've done it before. Yeah.
Oh, have you? Okay. Yeah. It was bad. It was stupid. But my heart was racing. My hands were sweaty. I shake her hand, and she's like looking at me like weird, like, why are you shaking my? You've never shaken my hand before. But she was just hot. She was gorgeous, and I was attracted to her. But I knew her, and I already liked her as a friend. She's like my little sister. But now I'm like seeing her in a different light. It was jacking me all up, and so I shook her hand, and it was the most awkward goodbye ever. For 2 weeks, it haunted me. I know that God was like nudging me, and she kept popping in my head and my heart, and it's like, you got to reach out to her. And then I don't know if this happens to everybody, but again, remember my crazy, scary prayer. I told God, I said, you're going to have to make it obvious. You're going to have to talk to me. I said, don't make me crazy. You start talking to me and people are like, who are talking to you? Is God talking to you? Yeah, I hear God's voice. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? But in that moment, I'm having this heartthrob moment. I hear this phrase. I didn't know this was in the Bible even. He who finds a wife has found a great thing. Didn't know that it existed. Secondly, he said, Jason, if you don't pursue her, you'll lose her. And I was like, what the F?
Pursue it or lose it.
Yes. I was like, oh, dang. Okay. So it took me 2 weeks to call her. I was a pansy. I practiced. I had a roommate. I was practicing with my roommate. I was like, hey, bro, how does this sound? And my roommate can attest to this because he was my best man in the wedding. I practiced with him. I was like, I'm going to call her up. I'm going to say this. He's like, okay. I was like, can we practice? Yeah. Okay. I was practicing with my roommate to call her. It took me 2 weeks. So ridiculous. When I called her up, it was like that awkward night where I shook her hand. It was so, oh my gosh, bro. Super embarrassing. Long story short, we went out for our first, I stumbled around and basically said, hey, would you want to go out and just grab something to eat? Played it off kind of cool. Yeah, sure. That night, I go to jump in the car, right? We're going to head, we eat at this restaurant and then we're going to take off and go down to the local park. So she's jumping in my car and I open up the car door for her. And then she said, she looked beautiful that night. It was just a perfect night. And then she reaches over and she unlocks my door. Now right?
There it is.
There it is.
Yep.
Slow motion moment. When she did that, because I used to date girls, I almost married a chick before her.
Okay.
That, I mean, like they would pop the mirror down and start doing lipstick thing. You know what I'm saying? That kind of chick. She was the first one that ever reached over. Now, when I was little, my mom used to do that for me. I would open up the car door for her and she would then, reach over and like either unlock and push the door open. And she did that. And it was just this confirmation moment. I knew, I was like, holy crap, this is my wife.
Right.
This is the one. I already had all these feelings for her. I knew what she valued. And then, oh my gosh, she wasn't thinking about herself. She was thinking about me. I was like, done deal.
Right.
So that's how I ended up finding out, like, this is the one. All these little confirmations, God nudging me. Hey, if you like her, I love how God doesn't like force you into something, but he'll nudge you. You know, he'll let you know when something good is there. And he wasn't forceful. He was a gentleman. He pushed me. He nudged me. He even kind of, you know, got in my face a little bit.
Right.
But that's how I met my wife, was that whole scenario. So I had a jacked up track record before that. I broke a lot of hearts. I was an idiot. I did, I don't know what type of audience we're going to have watching this, but it just was not a very PG rated, you know, dating relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So not a good track record. I could have ruined lots of things. So my first secret is talk to God. Go to God. Be honest, man, and invite him into it. But don't do it in this stupid religious way. Just keep it real.
Yeah.
And I think it can set you up for a lot of success. I know that if she were here, she would say something similarly. She had a bad track record with a bunch of dudes, but she eventually said the same thing to God. So I feel like it's a heart condition first before it's any relational things, you know. But I wish I could take mad props for it, but if it weren't for him, I would be divorced with kids. Nothing against anybody that's divorced with kids, but that's where I'd be right now, working a job that I hate. And I'll just leave it at that. It gets worse and worse, but I know my life would look way different if it weren't for her.
If you like what we've got going on,
We've got it going on.
click the button to subscribe so you don't miss a thing.
Yeah, baby.